Some jokes are harmless, the kind that disappear the moment people stop laughing. But every now and then, someone says something as a joke that lands in a place where humor doesn't belong. The moment it leaves your mouth, you wish you could take it back. That's exactly what happened to me the night I joked about my husband not being the father of our child. My name is Laura. I'm 42 years old, and my husband Daniel and I had been married for 15 years when this happened. Like many couples in their 40s, our life had settled into something steady and predictable. We both worked, we had a comfortable home, and we had spent years building a quiet routine together. For a long time, we had tried to have a baby. It took years of doctor visits, disappointment, and patience before we finally received the news we had almost stopped hoping for. I was pregnant. Daniel was happier than I had ever seen him. He talked about the baby constantly, read books about parenting, and spent evenings planning what the nursery would look like. Watching him become excited about fatherhood made the whole experience even more meaningful. But the moment everything changed happened during a simple dinner with friends. We were sitting around the table laughing about old stories when someone started joking about how Bobbies sometimes look nothing like their parents. It was the kind of light conversation people have when everyone is relaxed and comfortable. Without thinking, I laughed and said something I shouldn't have said. Well, maybe the baby is Daniel, I joked. The words came out casually, like any other comment in a friendly conversation. Everyone at the table laughed. Everyone except Daniel. The expression on his face changed instantly. It wasn't anger. It was something worse. For a split second, he looked hurt in a way I had never seen before. Then he forced a small smile, like someone trying to pretend nothing was wrong. The conversation moved on quickly after that, but the moment stayed in my mind the entire evening. On the drive home, Daniel was unusually quiet. Normally, after social gatherings, we talked about everything that happened, laughing about the conversations or the people we saw. That night, he barely spoke. When we got home, he went straight to the living room and sat down on the couch. Did something I say bother you? I asked. Daniel looked at me for a moment before answering. You were joking, he said. Yes, of course I was joking. He nodded slowly. I know, but something about his voice sounded distant. At first, I thought the situation would pass by the next day, but over the following week, I noticed small changes in Daniel's behavior. He was still kind, still supportive, still doing all the things a caring husband would do. But something had shifted. There was a quiet distance between us that hadn't existed before. One evening, I finally decided to address it directly. Daniel, are you still thinking about what I said the other night? I asked. He hesitated before answering. A little. I sat down across from him. It was just a joke. Daniel leaned back in his chair and looked at the ceiling for a moment. I know you meant it that way, he said, but it still stuck in my head. The honesty in his voice made me realize the situation was more serious than I had assumed. You don't actually believe that, do you? I asked carefully. Daniel shook his head immediately. No, but then he added something that surprised me. Still, when someone says something like that, even as a joke, it plants a thought. For the first time, I understood what he meant. The words had been careless, and once spoken, they couldn't be unsaid. I'm sorry, I told him quietly. Daniel nodded. I know, but the conversation wasn't finished yet. He looked at me seriously and said something that stayed with me long after that night. Respect matters in a marriage, he said, especially in front of other people. Hearing those words made me realize how my joke must have sounded to him in that moment. To our friends, it may have been funny, but to Daniel, it might have felt like I was questioning something deeply personal. I never meant to disrespect you, I said. I know, he replied. For a few seconds, we sat there quietly. Then Daniel said something unexpected. When the baby is born, I want to take a paternity test. His words shocked me. You think the baby isn't yours? No, he said calmly. I think it is, but I also think clearing that question completely will help both of us move forward without doubts. At first, I felt hurt by the suggestion, but after thinking about it, I realized something important. He wasn't accusing me. He was trying to remove the doubt my joke had created. So I agreed. Months later, when our daughter was born, Daniel held her in his arms with the same excitement I had seen when we first learned about the pregnancy. A few weeks afterward, we completed the test he had mentioned. The results confirmed what we both already knew. Daniel was her father. When he read the results, Daniel smiled in a way I hadn't seen in months. The quiet tension that had existed between us disappeared in that moment. Later that night, we sat together on the couch watching our daughter sleep in her crib. "I wish I had never made that joke," I said. Daniel looked at our baby and then back at me. "Sometimes small words create big moments," he said. "But what matters is how we handle them afterward." That night taught me something important about relationships. Trust in a marriage isn't only built through loyalty and love, it's also built through respect. The way we speak to each other, especially in front of others, can carry more weight than we realize. I joked that maybe the baby wasn't his. And for a moment, I saw the hurt in my husband's expression. But the way we faced that moment together changed something even more important. It reminded us that a strong marriage isn't about never making mistakes. It's about choosing to repair them when they happen.